So, you ever sell something online and get that little knot in your stomach, worried you might get scammed? I think we all have. We kind of just trust the platform is going to have our back. But what happens when that trust is broken? That's what we're digging into today. It's this incredible story of one seller's fight against a platform giant, a real David versus Goliath situation that honestly tells us a lot about the systems we use every single day. And this is the promise, right? This is what you see on their website. We step in, we have your back. It's the whole reason you're willing to pay those fees, which can be what, 13, 15, sometimes even 20%? It's supposed to be this guarantee that, in the wild west of e-commerce, there's a sheriff watching out for you. A simple, powerful promise. Until they don't. And that's really what this is all about. What happens when that promise just evaporates? It's about that gut punch moment when a seller realizes the sheriff isn't just looking the other way, but might actually be helping the bad guys. Okay, so let's get into it. Our story starts with just one single sale. But as you're about to see, this wasn't just any sale, and this definitely isn't just any seller. This is how one transaction completely spiraled into a fight against the entire system. And this game itself, it's almost laughably simple. A seller, our seller, ships a perfectly good working graphics card. The buyer gets it, says nope, it's broken, and starts a return. But, and here's the kicker, they don't send back the good card. They send back a piece of worthless junk. And the platform's automated system, it just forces the seller to refund everything. So now the seller is out the product, out the money, out the shipping. And the scammer, they just got themselves a free high-end GPU. It's wild. Now, the seller in our story, we're going to call them Robin, isn't new to this game. They are what you'd call a sophisticated operator. They get the risks. So they document everything. I'm talking photos, serial numbers, even videos of the item working perfectly right before it goes in the box. Robin was ready for a fight right from the get-go. So, with all this rock-solid proof of fraud, Robin does the totally logical thing. They call the Seller Protection Helpline. They're expecting that big promise, right? We have your back. But instead, they just run smack into a brick wall of scripted responses. And this moment from this nearly hour-long phone call is so important. Robin isn't just yelling, they're trying to be smart about this. They ask a really simple, logical question. Look, before this whole thing blows up, just tell me the rules. What's your policy for when someone commits mail fraud? I mean, that's a fair question for a business partner to ask, and the answer they get back? It is a perfect example of bureaucratic nonsense. The support rep, Chayla, basically says she can't explain the policy for a fraud case until a fraud case is officially open. But how is Robin supposed to know how to handle the case if they don't know the rules? It's a classic catch-22. It shows you the system isn't there to solve your problem. It's there to make you go away. So this whole back and forth really makes you wonder, right? Is this just one person being incompetent, or is this confusing circular logic actually a feature, not a bug? Is the system designed to be this frustrating? As Robin keeps digging, they start to uncover these two huge systemic problems. And the first one is all about how eBay handles the money. Robin comes up with a new name for their managed payment system, and it's a lot more accurate. Managed hostage negotiations. And this gets us into a really key legal idea called fiduciary duty. Okay, so normally, if someone is holding your money for you, like an escrow, they have a legal responsibility to act in your best interest. They can't just go and make money off your money by earning interest on it. Robin's whole argument is that eBay is holding seller funds, earning interest, and basically acting like an escrow agent, while totally ignoring this fundamental duty. And why would they do that? Well, the incentive is absolutely massive. Estimates suggest eBay is raking in over $250 million a year just in interest from holding on to sellers' money. Think about that. This isn't some tiny side effect. It's a huge undisclosed revenue stream. And Robin argues this is exactly why eBay forces sellers to pay refunds out of their own bank accounts instead of using the money they're already holding hostage. But oh, it gets so much worse. Just look at this table. The platform doesn't just charge its big fee on the item price and shipping. No, they charge it on the sales tax too, the money you collect for the government. So you're paying a fee on money that was never even yours, and then they charge you tax on top of that inflated fee. It's this crazy cascading pyramid of fees on taxes, all designed to squeeze every last penny out of you. And that brings us to the second massive systemic problem that Robin uncovers: the way disputes are actually decided. It's not a support chat, it's not a negotiation, it's a court. A private court with its own judges, its own rules, and absolutely no way to appeal. During that call, Robin actually says it out loud. They realize they're not talking to customer service. They're in some kind of weird legal proceeding where the other side is also the judge and jury. It's a parallel legal system that operates completely in the dark. I mean, just look at the difference. A real court? You get a neutral judge, you get due process. The platform's court? The platform itself is the judge. It follows its own secret internal rule book. It has none of the basic safeguards you'd expect from a fair legal system. Robin has this amazing analogy for it. They say it's like a magic eye poster. You know those things? The fraud is right there, totally obvious, like the 3D image, but only if you know how to look. The platform, and more importantly, the big institutional shareholders who get rich off its efficiency, they're set up to never see it. All they see is the smooth, profitable picture on the surface. And that leads to this really devastating conclusion. The system isn't broken. It's not incompetent. It's working exactly the way it was designed to. It's all built on simple if-then logic. If a buyer claims an item is not as described, then a refund gets issued. The goal was never to find the truth or deliver justice. The goal is to close cases as cheaply and automatically as possible. The human cost to sellers, that's just a rounding error on a spreadsheet. So, faced with a system that's literally designed to shut them down, Robin doesn't just throw in the towel. No way. Instead, they pivot. They go from just diagnosing the problem to launching a full-on counterattack. And they're not just going after their one little case. They're going after the entire system. So one of the main legal weapons Robin uses is this concept called tied selling. Basically, in Canada, it's illegal to force a customer to buy a second, separate product just to get the first one. Robin's argument is that by forcing all sellers to use its managed payment system, eBay is illegally tying its marketplace service to its financial service. It kills competition and it hurts sellers. And that's just one piece of this huge, coordinated battle plan. Robin is reporting the mail fraud to the actual police. They're suing for their financial losses in small claims court. They're taking that tied selling argument to the Competition Bureau. They're even sending a letter to put the board of directors on formal notice. But maybe the most explosive part of this whole thing is the complaint they filed with the SEC. See, the SEC complaint goes right for the jugular. It targets the numbers that eBay shows to its investors. The company loves to brag about its successful dispute resolutions, but Robin argues these numbers are just metrics cosplay. It's a total mirage. They say it's achieved by forcing sellers to pay off criminals, closing the case, and then calling it resolved. All it really does is bury the fraud deep in the data, where shareholders will never see it. So yeah, this fight is far from over. For Robin, this isn't just about one broken graphics card anymore. It's about taking on a system that they believe profits from its own failures. As Robin says, this isn't going to be swept under the rug as just another buyer dispute. It's going to go down for what it really is. And that leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? In these massive online marketplaces, who is really being protected?